welcome to the deep dive. You've sent us some really insightful sources, and today, well, we're cutting straight into the heart of global economic forces. We're talking prosperity, how we measure it sometimes in surprising ways, and just how the world's economies are constantly shifting, interacting. It's quite a picture. Our mission, really, is simple. Distill the essential nuggets from your material, give you that shortcut to being well-informed, maybe spark a few aha moments about how this whole global economy actually works. So we'll unpack globalization, look at how countries get categorized, learn the key ways we measure national wealth, and pinpoint the forces driving these big global shifts. To really get it, we should just jump right in.
Absolutely. And what's often overlooked, I think, is how intricately woven these concepts are. If you understand them together, it gives you a much clearer lens on the world. The sources you've provided, they're a great starting point for seeing that bigger picture.
Okay, let's kick off with the big one then. Globalization. Our sources describe it as this powerful tendency for the global economy to function more like one unit, increasing interdependence between different parts of the world. We hear the word constantly, but what does that interdependence look like maybe in an everyday way for us?
That's a great question. If we connect it to the bigger picture, it really means economic activities, markets, even social trends, they're all deeply linked across national borders now. Think about, say, the components in your smartphone. They've likely traveled from dozens of countries before they even get assembled.
Right.
Or, a sudden spike in oil prices somewhere. That ripple effect can hit your commute, the cost of groceries on your local shelves. No country really truly operates in isolation anymore.
That puts it really clearly, and it's not just some modern buzzword either, is it? Our sources make an interesting point that a lot of this talk, this focus on globalization, it really intensified after a huge historical event,
Yeah.
the fall of communism.
Yeah.
And apparently that shift even changed the language we use to talk about different countries. Can you unpack that a bit?
It's quite a profound shift, actually. The fall of communism didn't just redraw political maps. It directly influenced how we think about global development. Before that, you often heard developing countries called the Third World.
Right, I remember that term.
Yeah, and our sources explicitly state that label is really falling out of use now. And for good reason, it carried a lot of historical baggage, and frankly, it just didn't capture the diverse realities of those nations. So instead, we primarily divide the world using, well, more nuanced categories. First, you've got rich industrialized countries or advanced economies.
Okay.
These are often lumped together as the West, but interestingly, that's not just geographical. It includes places like Japan, Australia.
Right, alongside Europe and North America.
Exactly. Then on the other side, you have developing countries or less developed countries, LDCs. The newer terms try to be more descriptive, less, loaded.
So diving into that LDC category then,
Yeah.
it's not just one big uniform group, is it? The material suggests there's a real spectrum there.
Not at all.
What are some of those subcategories? What makes them distinct? This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Precisely. The LDC category is far from homogeneous. You find this remarkable range of economic structures, different stages of development. At one end, you still have rural economies, maybe with very little industry, heavily reliant on agriculture. Then, as countries start to industrialize, they might move into the newly industrialized countries, or NICs category.
Sure, C's okay.
Yeah, these are nations at various points in building up their industrial base, shifting away from purely farming models, and it gets even more granular. Some NICs are also called middle-income countries, which means they've hit a certain level of economic progress, moved beyond the lowest income brackets. And then you have the real standouts, these incredible success stories like the Asian tigers, places like Taiwan, Singapore.
Ah, yes, the tigers.
These are fast-growing economies, particularly in Southeast Asia, that in a relatively short time have reached wealth and prosperity levels similar to many advanced economies, often through things like export focus, smart government investment, skilled workforces, really fascinating case studies in rapid development. And just to simplify that broad split, industrialized versus less developed people often use the North and the South distinction.
Right, kind of a shorthand.
Exactly. Generally talking about more developed nations, often in the Northern Hemisphere, developing ones mostly in the Southern, though it's not a strict geographical line anymore.
Got it. So with those categories mapped out, how do we actually put numbers on a nation's prosperity? It's one thing to classify, another to quantify. Our sources highlight two big ones, GDP and GNI. We hear GDP constantly. What's the key thing about GDP? What does it capture?
GDP, gross domestic product, it's basically the total money value of all the finished goods and services produced within a country's borders in one year.
Within the borders. Okay, that's the key.
That's the critical part. It's a snapshot of the economic activity happening on its home turf. And to make comparisons easier, especially between countries of different sizes, we often use GDP per capita.
Per person, right?
Yeah, just total GDP divided by the population. Gives you a sense of the average output per person, though of course it is an average.
Okay, so GDP is production inside the country. But the sources also bring up GNI, gross national income. Used to be GNP, right?
Correct. Gross national product.
How is GNI different? And why is that distinction important, maybe even more important, for understanding a nation's actual economic clout in today's world?
GNI is definitely a broader measure, more encompassing. It starts with the GDP, but then it adds money flowing into the country from its investments abroad.
Ah, okay. Like profits from overseas companies.
Exactly. Or money sent home by citizens working overseas remittances. And crucially, it also subtracts money leaving the country to go to foreign investors.
Yeah.
So GNI gives you a much fuller picture of a nation's total income, really accounting for those significant international money flows. If a country has lots of citizens or companies making money abroad, GNI captures that. It can give you a truer sense of national wealth. Now, this brings up a really crucial point. A critical caveat. Your sources make crystal clear, and it's a key takeaway for you listening.
Yeah.
Can high national income, whether it's GDP or GNI, automatically guarantee high living standards for everyone in that country?
I suspect the answer is no.
Not necessarily, no. High national income can mean high living standards, absolutely. But, and this is the vital part, it critically depends on income distribution.
How the pie is sliced.
Precisely.
Yeah.
How is that money divided among the people? You can have very unequal distribution, a high average income, sure, but driven by huge incomes for a few at the top, while many others have much lower living standards. That truth often gets lost in those big economic headlines.
That's such a powerful distinction. It really changes how you look at those big numbers. Okay, so we've defined globalization, explored the classifications, learned how we measure things. Now, the how. What are the engines driving this? What forces do globalization supporters say are causing this growth and prosperity to spread, making the global economy act more like one unit? Your sources lay out some key trends.
Right, the drivers. Supporters point to several main ones. One big factor, highlighted in your material, is the free movement of capital.
Money moving easily.
Basically, yeah. The ease with which money for investment can zip around the world without major restrictions. This lets capital chase the best returns, theoretically fueling growth where it's needed, allowing companies to invest globally. Another crucial piece is trade liberalization. This means gradually removing obstacles to international trade.
Things like tariffs, taxes on imports.
Exactly. Tariffs, quotas limits on how much can be imported. By cutting these barriers down, it gets easier and cheaper for goods and services to cross borders. That boosts global commerce, makes more stuff available everywhere.
And beyond policy, the sources also talk about some amazing technological leaps. What about things like containerization? Sounds mundane, but it had a massive effect, right?
Yeah.
And the falling costs of tech.
Oh, absolutely. The efficiency of containerization, it was a total game changer. It led to ever-declining shipping costs.
Hard to imagine shipping before those standard boxes.
Exactly. Think of the nightmare loading loose sacks, crates, by hand. Now, standard metal boxes, stacked high, moved quickly between ships, trains, trucks. Minimal handling. It slashed the cost and time of moving goods internationally. Made global supply chains incredibly efficient, even for smaller players.
Wow.
And at the same time, telecommunications and computing costs just plummeted. Think how cheap and instant global communication is now compared to even, say, 20 or 30 years ago.
Night and day.
Right. And this isn't just about calling family. It makes global business deals, information sharing, complex transactions across borders way easier and cheaper. These are profound shifts underpinning modern globalization. Businesses can operate globally, manage logistics, even offer services from anywhere with incredible ease now. And these factors aren't just abstract economic theory. They directly influence the prices you pay, the variety of products you see in stores, and just how interconnected your daily life is with people and markets all over the planet. It really is all around us.
We've definitely covered a lot of ground today, sort of unpicking the threads of the global economy. We journeyed through what globalization really means, explored that whole fascinating range of economic labels, advanced economies, LDCs, Asian tigers. We deciphered GDP versus GNI and those crucial caveats.
Yeah, the distribution point.
Exactly. And we uncovered those powerful forces, free capital, trade liberalization, and those incredible tech leaps like containerization and cheap communication, all shaping our world. Our aim was really to give you that shortcut,
Mm.
distill those vital nuggets from your sources, make you feel well informed, and hopefully spark a bit more curiosity about this economic web we're all part of.
And maybe this leaves you with a question to ponder. As these globalizing trends keep accelerating and maybe new economic classifications even emerge, how might our very definition of prosperity evolve? Will it need to go beyond just nominal figures?
Hmm.
To truly reflect the well being of all people within a nation, will we need to focus more heavily on, say, income distribution or environmental sustainability? Perhaps other metrics that capture human flourishing beyond just the economic output number. There's always more to learn, for sure. And thinking about these dynamics helps us better understand the world's unfolding story and maybe our own place in it.
That is a brilliant thought to leave us with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope you feel more informed, more curious, and maybe ready to connect these dots in your own world. Until next time, keep that curiosity alive.